And we're back with Christopher Chung, designer of Lanterns, the Harvest Festival. Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is Thimblerig. To cheat by trickery. To swindle by a trick in which a small... I can't even get through this definition because the first one is so general, to cheat by trickery. And then we get into to swindle by a trick in which a small ball or pea is quickly shifted from under one or another of three small cups to fool the spectator guessing its location. So I want to know which one of those you went with. I'm hoping it's number 2.
I kind of combined a little bit of both.
Did you actually use number 2? That's so funny. I expected it to be dismissed.
So that one got me thinking about games that have already been made. So Dead Last is one of them. Basically, no rules are forbidden in that one because you could be talking about killing some person one time and then be killed yourself. And really, the table talk and meta game is really where that game stands out.
Oh, neat.
And I also thought of the newest Monopoly iteration that just came out, Monopoly Cheater, I think it's called.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it just came out, and there's a pair of handcuffs attached to the board. And so if you're caught cheating, you are sent to jail and literally handcuffed to the table. But also, there are objective cards that you meet by cheating. And so
that sounds amazing.
It's really cool.
That sounds like the next legacy.
Exactly. So for that, I wanted to really think about a game that involves cheating. I do have one prototype I'm doing with Eric Lang right now that involves lying.
Oh, nice.
But not cheating. So it's really a hard mechanic to do because if you're not really paying attention to how the players interact with not only the game but yourself, you could really be taken for advantage of. And so games like Monopoly Cheater and even Cheating Moth that came out with Jacques Diamet, right?
Yep,
that one.
I've played that. I have that one here. My kids, it's amazing. It's so much fun. Just I wear my hat and I slide a card up in my hat when they're not looking. It's great.
Exactly, right? It's really cool. So now I'm thinking of a game where you hide cards and components on yourself, and you kind of have to track where those components go. Sort of like Mafia de Cuba, except these components are now not only on yourself, but also you could be secretly passing them on to your partners. And so the person in charge of those components have to really figure out where those went, if they stayed with you, if they believe you're lying or telling the truth about where they are, kind of thing. And also those could be like really odd things, like you're hiding a cookie from the purveyor of cookie jars, or you're hiding the Fabergé egg from the museum, kind of thing. So yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I had a very brief idea about. I always look at like cards splayed out on a table, almost even just like tossed out, like I did in the game Maximum Throwdown, where there's things that are being covered when you're tossing cards. So you're throwing a card out, trying to cover your opponent's icons. When it comes around to you, if your icons are showing, you get to take special abilities and gain points and things like that. But I thought of something where your cards are all on the table and you show a little bit. It's like you show a little leg. It sounds so perverted, but you show a little bit of your card just by moving, just sliding one that's on top of another to reveal a little bit. But the thing that I was like thinking was, I don't remember what they like something like Spot It, where it has all these different things that are common on cards, but then there's the differences. So you're revealing. You might try to reveal something that's the same on multiple cards, so you don't let them know like what your full card is under there, and you're trying to kind of keep the secrets of what are underneath. And it's not really a whole thing by any means, but I do like the idea of the movement of cards on top of each other and kind of sharing some information through that.
Yeah, very much so.
And it's like it's the kind of thing where if you mess up, like you bump a card, it's like, oh, if you bump the table, that game's ruined. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. The whole idea is you have to be very, like, light in your movements, or you're going to show something, that you shouldn't have.
Exactly.
I don't know how to actually work that in anything feasible, but that's what my archive of these podcast episodes is for, is going back and finding the little nugget that could have worked.
You could be onto something with this.
I'm trying. This is episode like 110 it's crazy. So you mentioned working with Eric Lang. Is he like super local to you?
He was super local. So I spent a few months at his office just designing my own games, and he was off doing Rising Sun content and whatnot. Of course, that Kickstarter and that game, which is super awesome. But at the same time, he was busy with all of that stuff that he asked me one day, are you available for doing anything there? And I was like, okay.
Let me clear my schedule. Right.
And yes. And so he proposed during the expansion to Bloodborne, the card game. And I was like, okay, I haven't played this game before, right? He's like, yeah, don't worry. We'll play it together. You'll get it.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
I got it. And so by the time that I started working on the prototype, he actually went on vacation and left me to my kind of own tools to make it happen. But when he came back, it was quite a good prototype that we kept most of the core.
It sounds like it was like almost like an intentional lesson. Like, I'm just going to leave you and see what happens.
Definitely. But he was such a good mentor, and now he's in Singapore right now, so working for CMON. Yep.
I worked on a project that Eric Lang worked on, but I never worked with him. I co-designed the third Quarriors expansion, and Quest of the Gladiator, and it was me and Mike Kinsella from WizKids, and I never actually worked with Eric, or I met Mike Elliott at Gen Con just after I'd worked on it. But I'd still, even to this day, I still haven't really met Eric. We've been in the same place, but I've just never came up to him and been like, oh, I worked on your game.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I still had to try Quarriors.
Oh, I love Quarriors. It's one of those things that people are like, well, it's so random. And it's like, well, yeah, it's a dice game. It's going to be random.
Exactly.
You have to account for that. But, and then they redid it later in, I don't remember what it's called. What's that Marvel?
Marvel Dice Masters?
Yes, exactly. Which I have a ton of, but I didn't play it nearly as much as I played Quarriors.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's cool. So I guess tell everybody how they can find you and get in touch with you.
Sure. So you can find me at C Chung Games, primarily on Twitter. I do post on Facebook sometimes, but not really active on there. But where I spew things about game design, maybe a few things about hockey and anime. There you go.
Awesome. Okay, well, everybody follow along, and if you don't have lanterns, you should have it. So.
Yes, you should.
All right, we'll catch you later. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jason.